Good evening. Welcome to our Parshas Beshalach Pnimiyus here. So as Hashem have Siyat Shmaya, that the people in the show will quiet down. They'll be able to actually be able to hear me. But nice to talk to me, Megalig. A little more Amunah, a little more Avos Hashem, Yer Shemayim Bez Hashem. I'd like to start with a story. It's not exactly a Hasidic story, but it's a story that sort of brings out the necessity, the hechrich, to live a little more Pnimiyus life. The story is told. There are two friends. They weren't per se Yidden or anything. We'll call them Bob and Frank. Were friends. They grew up together, spent their whole lives together. And after many years of bowling and fishing and all the good things that good men do, they realized they're getting older and they would be moving on to the next world. And each of them was curious what's going to be like in the next world. So they made up whoever passes on first is going to come back and give a description of what goes on in the afterlife. So, unfortunately, one day Bob choked on a pretzel and ended up in the world to come. And a couple of days later, I think we said his name was Frank. Frank is dozing off in his armchair, and and all of a sudden he hears a little bing, and he says, "Hey, Bob, is that you?" He says, "Yeah, it's me." He says, "What's going on?" He says, "It's me. I'm here. I'm in the afterlife. I came to report to you what's going on." She says, "No, what's going on?" He says, "It's amazing over here. Beautiful weather, right? Beautiful scenery, plenty of food, tremendous amount of social life over here. All sorts of interesting people, all sorts of interesting friends to hang out with over here. And there's this pristine lakes we go swimming in, right? Endless food, and it's amazing." So his friend tells him, "Wow, that sounds like paradise." He says, "Paradise?" He says, "I'm in Cowan, Wyoming." So, if that sounded like paradise to you, so you're obviously missing the Pnimiyus of the world, because immediately that doesn't sound like a paradise. You said, he's a Cowan, Wyoming. This isn't Olam Haba. Olam Haba is there's no achila, there's no shtia, there's no other hana, and for a person to live with that's his goal, hana, right? So that's the way he views his Olam Haba, is in his own chitzanistic way. His whole life has a chitzanistic cook to it, and he never looks a little bit deeper to see what's be'emes a tainik. You mentioned the Ramchal, and Ramchal says, if you want to know what tainik is, you want to know what simcha is. Simcha isn't endless banquets. Simcha isn't endless tainik. Simcha is reaching the maila of being a tzaddik and a chassid. Kichol masha nichlas yoiser into the Pnimiyus of Avodas Hashem is this gadol simchasa yoiser. It's a guaranteed simcha, guaranteed tainik. The more a person enters the Olam HaPnimiyus, the greater the tainik is. And the more a person invests in the Olam HaChitzonius, we know the flip side of what Rav Chaim Vital tells us in Shai Kedusha is atzvus comes from investing in Tanug Olam Hazeh and realizing you're always coming up short, and the frustration that a person feels at that point ends up being what we call in today's day and age anxiety and depression. Just a story about Pnimiyus, which this story is going to lead us towards maybe a little bit what we talk about in this week's Parsha. There's a famous memra from the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov, obviously his whole avodah was from Megala Pnimiyus to the regular, to the common yid, right? Pnimiyus is not something you have to be miyachid yichudim for, and have giluyim in Olam Yisrael. Pnimiyus is living Pashat as a Pashat yid, recognizing the Kadosh Baruch Hu's world, and everything that goes on is literally hashgacha pratis from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the security that a person has living this way, there's Pashat living with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This was the message that the Baal Shem Tov was giving every yid. You're living Davak HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just by virtue of the fact that you're a Yid, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamish with you always. And he said over that Zolsvisin, everything that you observe and that you hear in this world, everything that affects you in any way, right? We said over the Maisa with a few weeks ago with the Rebbe Rab Zisha, how he understood everything that went on, even that seemed to be just a by chance encounter. He understood was a message, and he said over Azay that even what you hear from a guy on the street, Zolsvisin, it's a message of HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly to you, as ki'ilu k'shchina medaberes b'tach groine shalayis a guy to you. I don't know if you use that as a lashon, but that was a chiddush that he was saying, that even what you observe from a guy on the street, you overhear from a guy on the street, Zolsvisin, you have to learn that this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu talking to you. So the story goes that there was a Litvish Rav that came to the Baal Shem Tov, and he says, listen, you're saying very good. However, I think you went beyond what's acceptable by saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to use a guy as a keli, as his mouthpiece. Ken Yuzayin. A guy is a guy. Nowadays we don't appreciate how guyish goyim are, right? Because maybe we're so far guyished, or maybe the goyim are a little bit more more Yiddished up, with all the ethics that they've picked up a little bit on at least on the chitzonius from Klal Yisrael. But he says, Ken Yuzayin, a guy is literally a klipa, mamish is a ganzen vacuum. But Ken Yuzayin, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to use such a keli for his messages. So the Baal Shem Tov says, listen. He says, I can tell you that's the way it is. Lest asa Pnimiyus, everything is a gila of Kadosh Baruch Hu. So they're arguing about it, and the story goes, there's a knock on the door of the Baal Shem Tov's house during this conversation, and the Baal Shem Tov says, who's there? And the person responds, it's me, John the handyman, the Goyish handyman from the neighborhood, right? No, not handyman Maisha, handyman John. And he says, what do you want? So John says, listen, I'm here, I'm in the neighborhood. Is there anything you need in your house that needs to be fixed? So the Baal Shem said, no, everything's fine over here. So John says, why don't you look a little closer, look around, maybe I can find something that needs to be fixed, give me some work to do. So he assures him, no, everything's fine. So at this point, the Baal Shem Tov turns to his guest. He says, did you hear the Nevu over here? You hear the Ruach HaKodesh over here? He says, no, I didn't hear anything. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent us a message, right? Look at yourselves. Is there anything that you need to fix in yourself? Do you think you're perfect? Have you reached your shleimus? You assume everything's fine. We don't need to fix anything. The message is vital. Look a little closer. You're going to find that there's what to fix. And this is the message HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us. Don't sit back on your laurels, right? And think everything's perfect. Look a little deeper. You're going to find there's what's to be misaken. The Litvish Rav says, coincidence. I don't believe your taichin in any way, and I can't accept this. I can't accept this musik. The Baal Shem Tov says you can accept this musik, you just don't want to. Okay, the Rabbi says no, I can't, and as he's leaving, the Baal Shem Tov tells him you could, you just don't want to. Fine, he says goodbye, walking away from Baal Shem Tov's house. A few blocks later, there's a guy pushing a wheelbarrow on the street. And the wheelbarrow full of stones flips over, and the guy starts saying what Goyim say when that happens, and he sees this Yid walking over there. This Rav walking. He says, Yid, give me help putting these stones back in my wheelbarrow. So the Rav tells him, you want me to help you? I can't help you. I'm an old man, right? So he says, you could help me. You just don't want to, right? And all of a sudden he heard the Baal Shem Tov's last words being repeated by this guy 5 minutes later. And as the story goes, he turned around and went back to Baal Shem Tov and became a Hasidic rabbi in Atvatsk. Okay, wherever he became a Hasidic rabbi. But the Baal Shem Tov was vindicated. This idea that Pnimiyus is the Gil of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is every place in the world, and even from the Goyim of the world who are not the most obvious messengers of being Mingala, the Seidus HaTorah, or the Pnimiyus of the Welt, right? This is brought out in this week's Parsha, and I'll tell you over a vart from the Vilna Gaon and his Mechutin Rav Noach Mindes. The Vilna Gaon is medayik in the parsha of Kriyas Yamsuf. The pasuk describes Klal Yisrael's going into the Yam in two different ways, and it makes a chiluk in the way it describes it in one detail. The pasuk says before the Shira, Bnei Yisrael holchu by Yabasha b'sech hayam. It says Klal Yisrael walked into the Yabasha. They went onto the dry land b'sech hayam, where the Yam once was. And the Mayim was a wall miminum u'smailam. So he's medayik that the lashon of the pasuk over here is the Klal Yisrael went by Yabasha b'sech hayam. They went to the dry land b'sech hayam, and then it says v'mayim lem chayma. Chaym is written chaser without a vav, ches mem hey, and it's missing the vav. Okay, so the ksiv of chayma is chayma, and but the kri is chayma. The Medrash over here, Taka says that there was the Sar Shal Mitzrayim at this point on this pasuk says v'mayim lem chayma. It's Darish the word chayma that there's a midah said was being mekatrig over here. Who's being mekatrig? Who's being mekatrig is Uzzah Sar Shal Mitzrayim. That's his name. I'm not sure. There are different names brought down for Sar Shal Mitzrayim. One of them is Rahav. One of them is Uzzah. One of them is Duma. Right? We had him in Beshalach Brachas. He's responsible for he's the head counselor in Gehenim over there. He's Sar Shal Gehenim, and state that after Mitzrayim was destroyed, he ended up being put in charge of Gehenim. I guess he was saying Mitzrayim was be'emes.
Promotion or demotion?
Oh no, it's the Mamash is al Bazach because Mitzrayim is Eretz Aretz, right? So the Mamash they Shtufi Sima. So be'emes is just being Nisrach. They gave Eish Shal Gehenim the whole time. That's what the taiv is. The Eish Shal Gehenim. So Mele, he was a Sar Mitzrayim, which is Eretz Aretz. Mele, he's Sar Shal Gehenim. So Uzzah Sar Shal Mitzrayim says at this point, right? He was Mekatr in Klal Yisrael. You're going to make a Neser Klal Yisrael. Halal avodah avodah halal avodah zar. So that's taka the medrash over here. And Zakadar Rab Noach Mindas that if you look at the Rashi Tevis of the words v'hamayim lahem chayma miminam is Rashi Tevis. There's big matcha Sar Shal Mitzrayim, which is Uzzah. Okay, so Mela, this is what the diuk of the word chayma being written chaser al pi the medrash is also meduik that it's chayma, that there's a midas hadin that's being mekashik over here. That is the first ha'ara. Comes along at the end of the shira. The pasuk says, "Uvnei Yisrael." The pasuk says, "Nachmal." The pasuk says, here. This is pasuk a few psukim previously. Here it says Klal Yisrael came b'seich hayam b'yabasha. So it says they went to Yam and then Yabasha, and then it says v'mayim lem chayma miminim mismailim. Here chayma is written moli with a vav lashon of chayma. Right, the Korean and Ksiv are the same. So Dr. Milner going, what's going on over here? Right, what is the chiluk between the two psukim? So he says as there were two groups of people in Klal Yisrael. There were the people that were the Bali B'tachon, the Nachshaim, the Chidoime, right? And when they came to the Yam, they displayed a tremendous B'tachon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They walked into the Yam, mamish into the Yam, and their display of B'tachon is what brought out was what was Garim Denes. And male for them, the lashon of the pasuk is very meduik. They went into the yam, and noch they went into the yam. Then it turned into yabasha. Chayma is a lashon of chayma. The guy says the pasuk refers to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Oimani chayma, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the security of Klal Yisrael. He's maftiach Klal Yisrael like a chayma. You have bitachon Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu mirrors back midas habitachon with this pechina of chayma. Masha ein kain. The people that are non-bali bitachon, they waited for the yam to split. Those people were takav b'nei Yisrael holchu by yabasha. B'sei chayam, they waited towards first it was yabasha, and only then did they go in. Okay, and for those people, hamayim lehem chayma without a vav, which is lashon chayma. Okay, as they zakt the Vilna Gaon. With the Vilna Gaon is bevur what Uzzah is saying, right? If until now you didn't chap. What's Uzzah saying about Klal Yisrael? The Sarsham is saying Klal Yisrael halal avdei avodah zarah, halal avodah zarah. Via do you equate Klal Yisrael with mitzvim avdei avodah zarah, right? We know Klal Yisrael. They were mishri yidechem. They did tshuva. They're holding a different madrega than mitzvahim by this point. When it comes to Karam Pesach, they have Dan Pesach, Dan Mila. They have all the historis of the Makkos, and all of a sudden, Uzzah at this point is saying that halal of halal. Not like the Vilna Gaon, Uzzah being Megala Gavaldik Yisayid, right? The Sarasham Mitzrayim tells us the Gavaldik Yisayid in the Chisaron B'tachon. A person who has Chisaron B'tachon, he's in Madreg in that matziv of an Avodah Zarah. Uzzah is telling them that Klal Yisrael's not jumping in, they're not B'teching you fully. And he's being Megala this Gavaldik Yisayid, that B'tachon is not just a Maila. B'tachon isn't, I'm a tzaddik, I B'tachon. A person that doesn't have his midas have B'tachon b'shleimus, he's on a bechina of avodah zarah. That's the one gilui of a mouthpiece that's not exactly a mouthpiece of kedusha megal l'saydis to Klal Yisrael. We spoke last week. We spoke about the Makkos and Mitzrayim, and I'd like to maybe just repeat a little bit what I said and take it the next step to Kriyas Yamsuf. The Haggadah tells us that the Mitzrim got Makkos and Mitzrayim was be'etzba. We learn out from the Makkah of Kinim that the Chatum Mitzrayim said etzba lekimhi, and so we see that the Makkos and Mitzrayim were done on day etzba. It says by Kriyas Yamsuf, Vayar Yisrael se yad hachazaka, they saw the yad. So Ember Mitzrayim they had a Makkah be'etzba, and on the yam they had a Makkah with a yad. So a yad is 5 times etzba. So whatever amount of makkos you have in Mitzrayim, you have 5 times that amount al hayam. Okay, that's what Haggadah says. We learn out from the Khartoum Mitzrayim, right? Again, the mouthpiece who would be Megala, what's really going on in the makkos. They're Megala to us etzba lekimhi, and afazay vayt esem makkos is be'etzba. So then the makkos then the yam, the makkos al yam was 5 times because b'yam shteit yad. So the shaila is l'chayra, what's the shaychus? How do you learn out from Kinim? It says etzba lekimhi to. How do you learn out from Kinim etzba lekimhi that to the yam that it's 5 times the amount? L'chayra, when the Chatum Mitzrayim said that Makkos Kinim is be'etzba, so Makkos Kinim is be'etzba, right? Dam and Tzfadeya were also with epis. It wasn't the same etzba, it wasn't the same makkah. So if you add up 10 etzbais sounds like a lot more than 1 yad. So how does this math work that you go from etzba of 1 makkah, that all the Eser makkahs sounds like all Eser makkahs were be'etzba, and Meil Aliyam was 5 times the 5 times amount when it is biyad. So I wanted to suggest a pshat in this. So just review a little bit what we said last week. The Arizal says that the Arizal says that Mitzrayim had a shlita on Klal Yisrael. They're Shaloth on Klal Yisrael. When the Mitzrayim are Shaloth on Klal Yisrael, does haste, there is a shlita in the ruchnis of Klal Yisrael. It's not just that when anything that happens in Olam Hazeh, when there's a shibud in Olam Hazeh, in the Olam HaGashmi, does haste in the goals of Klal Yisrael as a whole, there's a shlita in Kedushas Yisrael. There's a shlita of Koichas Hara on the Kedusha of Klal Yisrael. And the way that Arizal describes is as follows: Shem Elikim is the Shem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which signifies Midas Hadin. And Shem Elikim has 5 letters. And what he says is that the Mitzrayim were shaylat on 2 letters of Shem Elikim, Yud and Mem of Elikim. And the way he describes it, he says as following: that if you take Shem Elikim has 120 permutations, right? Because you added up a 5-letter word, so you want to make all the different ways you could write Shem Elikim. So you end up having 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 equals 120. So they were shaylat on Yud and Mem, the 24 permutations that start with Yud and 24 permutations that start with Mem. And they were shaylat on 48 Shemis Elikim. And he says this is why Mitzrayim is called Admas B'nei Cham, because Cham is a gematria 48, because they were shaylat on Midas Elikim. So we tie it that when it comes to a makis, to what is a makkah? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu is being makkah Mitzrayim, what is he doing? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the makis are meant to undo Mitzrayim's achiza. Mitzrayim is holding Klal Yisrael, Kav Yochel, in its Midas HaKedusha. The Kedusha of Klal Yisrael is being held by Mitzrayim, and the makis are to pry off Mitzrayim's grip on Klal Yisrael. So he said that the 5 letters of Elikim correspond to 5 fingers on your hand. Okay, the 5 gurus, 5 chesadim of the fingers on your right hand, 5 gurus on the fingers on your left hand. And the reason why you have 5 fingers is because there's 5 chesadim and 5 gurus. That's why you have 5 fingers on your right and left hand. Okay, so he said as the mitzim are being megal tremendous sight, right? We know they're being shaylat on 2 fingers. We know that they're being shaylat on 2 letters of Elikim, and it corresponds to the hand. However, we don't know per se whether Elikim is Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem, or it's Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem. Comes along the Mitzrayim and tells Etzba Elikim He, right, which means that the Etzba Elikim, which we were being shaylat on, the Etzba of Shem Elikim, which would be Keneged the Yud. Now it's understood. It's Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem. Etzba Elikim comes by Kinim. Okay? At this point, our Etzba is being pried off. What was until now? Until now, it was just the Gailos being stared. The end of Mem. Okay? We said why they were not so concerned about the Mem. As long as they have their Etzba on, they're okay with it. Comes Kinim, and they say, Oy vey, Etzba Elikim. Okay? Etzba Elikim is the pshat that this mak is already staring our shlita in a way that's totally removing us. Basically, it's threatening our final achiza, and this is why they started realizing that we have a problem here. So I just wanted to tie Nazay that the makkos, again, the asara makkos are meant to remove the achiza of the Mitzrayim on, we'll call it the Goydel and the Etzba. That's connected to the Yud and the Mem of Shem Elikim. We know Dam Tzvardeya, we have the Raya, was just a makkah on the Goydel. Okay? Kinim is Etzba. What's vital? If the makkahs are being just on the Makom Achizul Chayr, the makkahs of the Mitzrayim is only going to be where they're being shot in Klal Yisrael, which would be these 2 fingers. Okay? So then, after Kinim is Etzba, what's after Kinim? We don't know. We don't have any data on that. Right? We know the first 2 is not Etzba, the first 2 is Gaidel. Kinim, number 3, is Etzba. What happens? Dam Tzvadei, Kinim Ariv. What's Ariv? What's it a makkah on? So the Hakdama to the Asar Makas in the Haggadah says Azay. B'yod Chazak Shtayim, Zoyna to Shtayim, right? And it goes through, right? The Makas are in pairs, right? What's his Gilui of B'yod Chazak Shtayim, Zoyna to Shtayim, Maragad Shtayim, Shtayim Ois Shtayim, Moisim Shtayim, right? Eila Asar Makas that Klal Yisrael that the Mitzvah got in Mitzrayim. Okay? The Haggadah is megal to us that the way the Makkos work is they come in pairs. Now, if the Makkos, based on our assumption, are coming to pry off the achiza of these two fingers, okay? So the first two we already said, very good. Goydel, right? Kinim is etzba. It's coming in pairs. That means Kinim and Arav is etzba. Okay? If the rest of the Makkos are going to be only on etzba, right? It's not in pairs anymore. If we're going to continue going in pairs, where are the next two Makkos after Arav going to be? Dever Shchin has to go back to Goydel. Right? Maskin? Next two, if we're going in pairs, we're going to have to go back to etzba. And the final two is going to go back to Goydel. Okay? Is Cheshbon clear? It's a good cheshbon, right? If it's coming in twos, and we're only and we're prying off the achiz of two etzba'is, so the first two is etzba, the first two is goydel, the next two is etzba. If you do an next 8 on etzba, it's not 2, 2, 2, it's 2 and 8. If I say by the Tari's Megal, it's twos, that means every two is switching back. So it comes out that the first two Makkos are connected goydel, next two Makkos are connected etzba, kinim arv, davar shchin, bar arba, chayshach Makkos b'chayris, back to goydel. As I come dice. Okay? The Arizal says as following. He says a kavana when you talk about giving a birchas habanim Friday night to your children. He says you put your hand in the child's head, and you mechaven certain shemus when you put your hand in your child's head. Okay, the shemus should be mechaven, or you make a yichud, which is B'gematria 112, which is a yichud of when you put together three shemus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Eke, Havaya, Aleph Daled, Eke is 21, Havaya is 26, and Aleph Daled is 65 equals 112. Okay, B'gematria you have Yavar, Yaakov, Mavar, Yaboik, right? And that is a shem of a yichud of Eke, Havaya, Ad. Zakta Arizal, when you put your hand in your child's head, you should be mechaven this yichud. How? Because your hand has 5 fingers. You have a goydel etzba ama kaimet zeres. The Rashi Tevis of goydel is gimel, etzba aleph, ama aleph, kaimet kuf, zeres zayin. You add it all up equals 112. Okay, so the koyach of the yad, of a whole yad, is 112. Okay? That's when you're dealing with shemus of Havaya Eke, right? When you get beyond Elikim. Elikim is Midas Hadin, Havaya is Midas Chesed, Eke is Kula Chesed, right? When you start getting to Kula Chesed, you get up to the whole Yad. Okay? What happened by Kriyas Yamsuf, the pasuk says Azay. The Mitzrayim said right before Kriyas Yamsuf, oh no, we're done. Anusam emnei b'nei Yisrael ki Hashem nuchal lahem b'Mitzrayim. Comes along with that Rizal. He says, Mitzrayim just chapped. Mahatzich mit Shem Hashem. Bis yet it's given Elikim. All of a sudden we see this is a clear Shem Hashem. Shem Elikim, they felt we have a chance. Midas Adin, us and didn't get along. We won't be totally destroyed. The worst comes to worst, we'll come out with some sort of we'll salvage something. But they see Hashem nechamlem Shem Havaya, which is until now Mi Hashem Hasheshma B'Kailai Hashem they denied. Now they see, this is Havaya, right? Again, the Mitzrayim will be megal to us, right? The new anhaga that's in this barer by Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf is bechinish of Havaya. Like I'm saying, it's very good, right? Because Kriyas Yamsuf is Yad. Yad is the whole Yad has in it the Inyan Fun. Goydel etzba Amma Kaimit Zeres, which is Havai Eka Havai Adam, which is all the way up to all the shemus of Kula Chesed. And Mimela, this is what was going on, the change of Hanhaga. Kriyas Yams, the Asar Makis is prying off their shlita in Elikim. You pry off the shlita from Elikim, okay, they could remain. If a Zayvite Shem Havai is coming over here, Havai is Kula Chesed, it gets rid of the Ranganzi. Okay, so this is the difference when you put it all together between the Makis, the Hanhog of the Makis, and the Hanhog of Kriyas Yamsuf. Now to make the cheshbon, back to the Kasha. Mitzrayim is be'etzba, right? And Zaktagod, it's 1/5 of the makis of the yam. Why is it 1/5, right? One etzba is kinim, right? The other 9 makas also have all sorts of etzbas, all sorts of kaichus going into it. It's going to be more than yad, okay? But when you do the math, the way we just presented it, works out very nice, I believe. Okay? The koyach of yad is 112, right? Gaidel, etzba, right? If the makis in the Mitzrayim were only connected gaidel etzba, right? Like we said, gaidel, etzba, gaidel, etzba, gaidel. Okay? Out of the Rashi Tevis of the gaidel, etzba, gaidel, etzba, gaidel. What do you get? No, you got a lot less. Gimel, aleph, right? So 6 and 8 plus 6 is 14 plus 2 is 16 plus 6 is 24. Right?
22.
22. Okay, do it again. 6 plus 2 is 8 plus 6 is 14 plus 2 is 16 plus 6 is 22. Okay? So the Makis of Mitzrayim was only connected 22 out of the 112 of the entire yad. What percentage is? What is 22? How many times does 22 go into 112? Exactly 5, as close as you possibly can get. Understand? So when you add up the kaiches of the Makis of Mitzrayim, klapi the kaiches of Shem Havaya, which was nizgala by Kriyas Yamsuf, and who was the Megal of this site? The Mitzrayim Alein, Anusa B'nei Yisrael Ki Hashem Nucham Lem Yisrael. All signs of Mitzrayim, everything we know about the Giluyim of the Makis comes from the Chatumim, from Uza Sorosh of Mitzrayim, and the and Mitzrayim itself by Kriyas Yamsuf. We should talk about that all his galus of Kriyas Yamsuf should be gully by us, but the bitachon that it brings to us.